Hello, my name is Gina Ruffini, and this is going to be my presentation on interactive media and early childhood. Just to give a little background knowledge, I am an ECSE teacher that stands for Early Childhood Special Ed, and I teach children ages 3 to 5 at a local public school. A lot of my students all have pretty much speech impairments, and I also have some children that are classified ASD or ECDD, which is in early childhood developmentally delayed. I also have OHI, otherwise health impaired, and just children of various disabilities. So I chose to focus on something that I could use within my classroom, and I thought interactive media would be a great way to start. So I'm going to go ahead and start my PowerPoint. Again, I'm going to be looking for interactive media in early childhood. Some types of different interactive media are digital or analog materials, applications or apps, streaming media, some television programming, ebooks, and the internet, which are pretty much our basic interactive media types. Some different media experiences. You should always provide opportunities with digital cameras, audio recording, visual recording, or printers. And I think those are just pretty staples in the classroom. You should have a digital camera or use your iPad or other devices to use audio or visual recording. And then one thing that I did pull out from the National Institute for Literacy was just that you need to teach early technology handling skills, the same as book handling skills with early literacy. Now that it's become so technologically based outside, and kids are exposed to so much nowadays, technology wise, that they're going to have to be efficient with handling technology, the same as with handling books. According to the National Association for the Education of Young Children, they have different technology tools and interactive medias. So I'll click on that and take you to their website. I get a lot of my resources from this website, and they had a lot of interesting and good points. So different technology and tools and interactive media, they say that you should allow children to freely explore touchscreens loaded with a wide variety of developmentally appropriate interactive media experiences that are well designed, and they enhance the feelings of success. They should be given opportunities to explore and feel comfortable also using that traditional mouse and keyboard computer. I know that interactive and smaller devices are the norm now, that we're kind of getting away from that traditional mouse and keyboard, but they should be comfortable with using that as well. As a teacher, you can capture photos of block buildings or artwork that they've created, or videotape that dramatic play to replay. I know that my kids really like to see videos and pictures of themselves and what they've created, and I know that they get excited when they see that. Also, celebrating their accomplishments displayed on a digital projector or on a classroom website so they can see themselves outside of school. Incorporate, again, this is a big piece for me, the assistive technologies as appropriate for children with special needs or developmental delays. And I know a lot of media and different types, right? Technology right now really has helped my students communicate, and it's readily and easily accessible on a lot of devices. Also, recording children's stories about their drawings or their play, making those files to document their progress. I can show parents how they're doing, or just for myself to, so I don't have to remember. And exploring that digital storytelling with children. There are different various apps and programs that can really bring that book to life or to help them display it for their artwork as well. So now I'm going to go back to our PowerPoint here. So again, I think if you can look at that website, it has been really useful for me. Some procedures, they say that the traditional preschool essentials such as the easel and the paint should also be in the classroom, but you can also incorporate that interactive media to spark that student love of learning. So they're saying, again, not to take away all those typical manipulatives and things that you see in that preschool program, but again, everything is there to enhance what they're learning. Technology should be integrated into the environment, the curriculum, and into their daily routines, which I know that's something that I need to try to do a little bit more. Once implemented, media should be part of the routine, and the focus should be on the extension of the lesson that's being taught, not on the technology. Again, I think that's really important to note that it's not teaching the lesson for you, it's just an extension and an extension. Please keep in mind that advantages of using interactive media, it enhances their cognitive and their social abilities. Again, the same way that those physical manipulatives are used, interactive media can take children to places or experiences they may not see, and it can be used to enhance the lessons that are being taught. Some disadvantages, they talk about a lot about the passive screen technology. It's not a replacement for active play, engagement with other children, and interactions with adults in the early childhood classroom. So you're going to have to find a good balance of where you want to incorporate this technology. It shouldn't be the staple of your day. They should still get those typical preschool experiences, but maybe during small group lessons, you can incorporate that into your day. Principles to follow again, and when using interactive media, it should be active, hands-on, engaging, and empowering. Help give the children control and they can actually use it themselves, but again, you'll have to closely monitor. Provide adaptive scaffolds to ease the accomplishments of tasks. So again, give them small things to do and build on. So once they're familiar with using one app on the iPad or whatever device you use, you can kind of increase it so they show some accomplishment, and it's used as one of many options to support their learning. So again, it's not the only thing you're using in the classroom. The next piece I focused on was using iPads to increase literacy in early childhood, and again, I think that's a really good import. That's probably one of the easiest areas you can incorporate technology into the classroom, and that's where I focused on my creating later. Again, here is a quote from one of the readings that I did. The influence of digital technologies may influence the types of literacy young children observe and use to read, write, and communicate. Again, technology is getting stronger and stronger in the world, and they're experiencing a lot of technology. So it's going to have to change in how literacy is being taught. According to this article, the development of the newer, more interactive, touchable interfaces, again, may be more suitable for children because they allow them to physically manipulate, and that encourages curiosity, creativity, and self-expression and discovery, which again, I think, again, I agree with that. They are able to physically manipulate the iPad and use it. So again, keep in mind, learn and use the concepts that they are taught. They can connect reading, writing, listening, and speaking through certain apps. Certain apps have interactive books that help them involve the students in reading, and social learning and problem solving increased after using the iPad. So in some studies, when they use the iPad to record the children and show them various work, the kids could actually see how they were interacting and how they were able to problem solve. And physically seeing them and doing that, seeing themselves doing that helped them learn, which again, I agree with that as well. When I show them and they're able to see what I'm seeing, it really helps them. And again, iPads are portable and easily moved around. Some disadvantages, again, teachers need to be familiar with using it, or it could be intimidating. Buying the apps, being familiar with the App Store. iPads should not be the focus of any lesson. I'll keep reiterating that. And money. iPads do cost money. Right here are just some of my resources that I use to find all my information. I think they were all really helpful if you ever want to check those out. And then this goes into, I learned all about interactive media and using iPads to enhance the lessons, and I decided to take that and create my project. Again, I have a unique classroom in the regards to it is early childhood and they have special needs. So I wanted to find some way to incorporate and do this project with something that was meaningful for me and that I could actually use in my classroom. So the rationale when searching for interactive uses of technology, innovative, I discovered what a great tool that interactive or digital media is for early childhood students. And I pulled that principle from the NAEYC, National Association for the Education of Young Children. Again, I'm going to keep reiterating this. Media, whatever you're using, should be part of the routine, and the focus should be on the extension that is being taught, not on the technology. Again, using this rationale, I will be creating these lessons and using iPad technology to enhance my lessons that I'm teaching in the classroom. So for my first lesson, I wanted to focus on literacy and writing and forming letters. A lot of my kids grasp the pencil, and it's very hard to physically get them to go top to bottom and follow the forms when writing letters. So my description, I'm going to be focusing on letter recognition and forming letters. I'm going to introduce the letters and discuss the sounds, which again, I think it all ties together, and that's how I introduce letters. And we'll practice writing. I think that's one area where I want to improve on. I know I introduce letters and I do the sounds, but I really want to have them writing those letters as I'm teaching. So when forming the letters, I want to work on top to bottom. Again, my kids go top, bottom to top, lifting the instrument off the paper and going writing, or words go from left to right when you're reading. In the iPad, using the iPad will help improve eye coordination with my students. They really have to look at the iPad and follow the lines. So I'm going to introduce these during small group center instruction, which I feel is most effective for me. We're going to sing our letter song, which again, it goes to a leapfrog, I believe, but it says A says A says A. Every letter makes a sound and A says A, and it's really fun and interactive for them. We're going to discuss words or objects that start with that letter. My morning would have a tougher time, but my older afternoon, they're really good with thinking about words and the letters and the sounds that they make. Writing it in the air, I want to do the pencil and paper worksheets that they'll trace the letter. And again, I want to see them holding that pencil and forming that letter properly. And once they're familiar with that, I'll introduce the iPad app, Little Writer Pro. It is free, and it's got a whale where they have to physically take the whale, and it shows them the conventions and how to properly form that letter. And you'll always have to closely monitor. Advantages are exposed to writing using various forms, increasing hand and eye coordination, promoting correct formation when writing the letters, and again, they're visually appealing and motivating for them. Some disadvantages, again, this is something when you're introducing anything, they're going to need to be taught how to use the iPad and monitored. They like to press that home button a lot. And again, these are just some strategies, effective instructional strategies: modeling, providing motivators, sensory input, visual, tactile, and auditory. It's appealing, and they're getting a lot of that trial and error in using imitation when forming those letters. These are just some pictures. Again, my students, they're forming. I'm looking at him on the left forming that letter and holding the pencil or pen correctly. And the one on the right is one of my morning kids who's 3, and she's able to successfully lift her finger off the paper and form that letter independently using that iPad app. The next lesson, I wanted to take the iPad a step further and really use the camera and extension. The Little Writer Pro can also be used for shapes. So the next lesson, I'm going to be talking about shapes, identifying, recognizing, and naming shapes, introducing the shapes to the students and discuss what they look like as sides, curvy lines, straight lines. We're going to look at pictures in the environment, and then we're going to use the iPad cameras to take a picture physically. I want them to do it and give an individual practice when writing. Once we're done and there is extra time, I'll give them that app again. They're introduced. I'm going to do this again at small group center instruction, brainstorming shapes that we see in the environment. I'm going to show them actual pictures outside of school because I want them to focus on what in the classroom, just so they can relate to the class and outside. Once exposed to the various shapes, they're going to take the iPad and take a picture of 3 shapes. Again, I might adjust accordingly depending on how they're doing. Find 3 shapes, take a picture, and bring the iPad back to the table. Again, you'll have to monitor. We're going to discuss the shapes found, name them, and match them with the shapes that I'll have. And introduce that Little Writer Pro app. Again, it has shapes, uppercase letters, lowercase letters, and it really helps them form the letters. At the end, I can print out the shape pictures and put them on the bulletin board to display their work, which I think they love. Advantages, the same as before, becoming familiar with using technology and using it independently. Advantage, they increase their hand-eye coordination and they're visually appealing. Disadvantages, they need to be monitored. They might press that home button, and with fine poor motor skills, they might have a hard time holding the camera and the iPad. And again, the effective strategies are the same as before: modeling, helping retain various knowledge of shapes, sensory input, guided response, and it's appealing. And then I'm just going to end with some pictures of my students performing some of these tasks, forming the shape. You can see on the right, he's taking his finger and he's using the whale and really forming those letters. And the one on the left is one of my students holding the iPad, which is an iPad mini, and able to take a picture of various shapes within the environment, which he found very well. And then I just ended with resources. Again, this NAEYC is a great source of all of my information that I got for this. If you have any questions, please send me an email. Thank you so much. Have a great night.